What's up, guys? Back again. This is the second half of that comic book collection that I bought. This is going to be all Daredevil books. As I was explaining in that first video I bought two short boxes, one of Fantastic Four and one of Daredevil. Obviously, we went through all the Fantastic Fours in last video. This video is going to be all the Daredevil books that were in that short box. I'll just remind you, it was $400 for both short boxes. And it came out to about $1.50-ish per book. I think it was a little less, like $1.49 something or something like that. But yeah, so first, I'll do this a little backwards. Instead of going through the stuff that I'm going to keep first and then the stuff that's doubles, I'm going to do the doubles first because there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 doubles and one book that I don't feel like keeping. I effectively tripled the size of my Daredevil collection. I went from 52 books to 152 books in Daredevil Volume 1. So the first book here, without further ado, actually the books that I have doubles of are actually kind of bangers. Uncanny Origins featuring Daredevil, kind of just to throw in. Daredevil 251. John Romita Jr. cover. This one's kind of low grade, but it is a newsie. Not a Mark Jewelers. Daredevil 239. We have a Daredevil 219. This one, hold on. It's got a bend on the corner, and I didn't catch it when I bagged and boarded it the first time. So now I can straighten it out and stick it in the board. And it will no longer be a bend, it'll just have some creases. But Daredevil 199, there's this corner down here. 199. This is a double, but it's gorgeous. I already have a gorgeous copy of this book. I didn't think this one upgraded mine, so it's gonna be a double. Daredevil 196. My laundry's done just as I start this video. Jeez, of course. Daredevil 194, part of the Miller run. The biggest key issue in the whole thing. Daredevil 181, The Death of Elektra. Spoiler alert, still Frank Miller goodness. Here's some early Frank Miller goodness. A nice Doc Ock cover here. 165. We got 157. Just a cool cover here. This is the issue actually right before Frank Miller run on Daredevil starts, technically. I think he only did the cover on 158. I could be wrong, but this issue features this Deathstalker, I think, or whatever his name is. I don't remember. And then the issue after this is the second part of the story, and Frank Miller works on it. He didn't work on this one, but he works on the next one. And last but not least for the double, this fun Beetle cover. It is pretty beat. Issue 140. So yeah, that's all the doubles. Those will all be available for trade, purchase. If anybody's interested, hit me up on Instagram. I might sell these in my first Instagram sale. I don't know. I'm thinking about switching to Instagram. The only thing I have to do with that, though, is I have to charge New Yorkers sales tax, and I have to reset out my tax ID, which is kind of why I didn't want to do it, because I don't want to, get in trouble. I put my sales on the books, just to, make sure the IRS doesn't hammer me at some point in my life. Next up, we have the books that I'm keeping. We're going to go from, again, descending order. We'll start here at the earliest issue, 369. You're going to see some pretty nice looking books. Then you're going to see some pretty mixed bag of condition. And then we kind of close out with pretty nice condition books for the age that they end up getting down to. So we go all the way down to the Silver Age. I'll spoil it now. 351. It was a huge jump here to 329. A ton of nice Scott McDaniel covers coming up that I just absolutely love McDaniel. It's pretty simple. It's pretty 90s, but it's pretty for me. So I really enjoy McDaniel. I think a lot of it has to do with my love of Nightwing. He did a lot of really good stories with Chuck Dixon back in the day. So pretty cool. This is probably my favorite of the McDaniel covers here. This is 327 with Cap and the black suit Daredevil jumping through the shield there. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite covers in this entire haul. 326. Oh, this one is ratty. Holy crap. It's like a 3.5 for like a modern book. It's just terrible to me. 325. Fall from Grace. This is actually the first Daredevil story I ever purchased. 324. I found them in a dollar bin at a local card shop. 323. And I bought the whole storyline. I think it was like 12 books for $10, so it was even a little less. 22. So yeah, I bought this whole storyline there. I got rid of it since then. Some of my copies would have been better than these, but some of these are okay. This one had a busted corner, otherwise it would have been much nicer. 321, this is actually the glow-in-the-dark variant. You can tell by the price. When it's $2, it's glow-in-the-dark. When it's $1.25, it's not. You also can feel by the texture. It's kind of got a raised texture in the glow-in-the-dark parts. 320. And a nice ratty copy of 319 to go with the other side of the storyline. So the beginning is ratty and the ending is ratty. I couldn't even tell you. I read it when I got home. I read all 6 issues or 7 issues, whatever it was. I think it's 6, yeah. 319 to 325. 7? I don't know. I can't count. But yeah, I read it. I couldn't tell you. I know Kingpin's pretty featured in it, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not this one. I don't remember. I don't remember, to be honest. No, I feel like it's the other story that I also got, and there's an issue of that coming up. Anyway, 318. Just like, you know, collector things. Bought that freaking 2012-ish. Long time ago. 317. The Basic cover is really nice. It's just, I don't know. I really like this cover. Holy cow. 316. Back to McDaniel here at 315. $314. $313. Try to go kind of fast through some of the stuff in the front here. $312. I think about 90 of these books were new to my collection, and 10 of them upgraded books that I previously had. So just for a little context there. Here's 310, the first appearance of Calypso. Which is weird because it says Calypso's back, but it tells me it's the first appearance. 307, the sick Tombstone cover here. This is a super liney cover. Who did this? It's McDaniel. It's not quite his style. I guess he didn't have it all figured out yet. Yeah, this one too. 305. It's like more defined here. Kind of more like, I don't know, McFarlane-y. And then later on, he gets more of his, I don't know. He's kind of, I kind of describe him as like kind of blocky, but he's not really blocky. I don't know. Like McDaniel a lot, but I don't recognize his early stuff. 303. This is the other storyline that had to feature. This featured a lot of Kingpin. I remember buying. It was what I think it's 297 to 100. The Last Right story arc, and this has to do a lot with Kingpin. I only got 2 issues back from that series, 298. I sold a lot of my Daredevil run, like 2021. I was basically, you know, taking a life sabbatical. I kind of did this for work for a little while. I sold cards and comics on eBay and Twitch and things like that, and I just lived off my books for a little while. It was fun. 287, kind of like a nice R&R after grad school. 282. But yeah, unfortunately, Daredevil, a lot of my Daredevil got cut in that purge. I kept all of my Batman, my Detectives, my Teen Titans. I kept all of my Fantastic Fours. But I purged a lot of the stuff that maybe didn't matter too much to me anymore at the time. But now I'm all back into comics like crazy again. I absolutely love it. So 281, ebbs and flows of your collecting lives, you know. Coming up here, one of these is gonna, oh, never mind. I know where it is, and I'll explain it then. 279, Hand of Mephisto. So what is this, Nocenti's run? Yeah, I gotta read up more of Nocenti's run. 278. This one is kind of a cool find. It's the only one in the entire batch, but this is 277. Would indicate newsstand down here, but this is actually a Mark Jewelers, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you can see it from the top or not. Not particularly. Can you see it from the bottom? Yeah, kind of. You can kind of see the blue line through it. If you see that, you know it's for sure a Mark Jewelers. So you should always check your newsstands. And I guess in the 70s, you should just check your books because there weren't really newsstands. Some of them have star stamps on them. 273. None of my Mark Jewelers have that star stamp. 272 that I'm aware of. I gotta double check some of them. Some of them I had before. I kind of realized that was a thing. 271. There's a lot of great stuff here. There's a lot of Ann Nocenti writing, John Romita Jr. covers. 269, who is a kind of you either love him or you hate him kind of artist. I am a pretty big fan of JR. I can recognize that some of his stuff seems a little bit more rushed, and his mid 80s through the early 90s is much better than some of his more recent stuff. But he's been a mainstay in comics. His dad is a legend, and he's become a legend himself. So I do enjoy his work. 267. 266. Ratty newsstand copy of 265. There is a lot of ratty copies in this range here. We pretty much hunted all the same spots indirectly for the longest time. It's purchased from a buddy of mine. 264. It's got the owl in the issue. One of my favorite villains. 263 newsstand. And I could tell you I probably passed on a lot of these copies back in the day because I didn't want to pay premium for them in the condition they're in. But no, I got a pretty good deal on most of these books. 150 might be too much for some of these issues, but once you see what we get down to, it's definitely worth it. 259, I made out in the end. And my collection is going to be very happy about it. 258, this is the first appearance of Bangle. I think I missed a couple of first appearances. This is issue 75. It's a newsie, as well as that one was a newsie. Newsstand, this is the first appearance of the Wild Boys. There's another first appearance of Bullet. We got a nice 248. As in, it's Beat, and it's the first appearance of Bushwhacker. 245. 244. Voodoo Vengeance. We got 243. Newsstand. We're going to start dropping into some pretty cool runs here soon. I will let you know, no major keys. I kind of already said that. The biggest key was the death of Electro, and I already showed that off. 242 and 240. But a lot of great artwork, a lot of great stories, a lot of great Daredevil history, and some pretty cool books once we get down to it. 239, kind of near the beginning of Innocenti's run. 238, I think one of these might be her first issue in the run. It may be this 238, to be honest. 237, because this was a different writer. We got the newsstand copy of the anniversary. She actually wrote that one. So 236. And then eventually we're going to get into Born Again era. 235, this was one of the upgrades. I had that already. The Return of Mr. Hyde, Daredevil's deadliest foe. I think that could be argued. 234 with the Jester, right? That's who that is, yeah. I feel like the ha-ha-ha's give it away. 233, this is actually the finale of Frank Miller's return for the Born Again series. No 232, unfortunately, but we got 231. Did snag a good copy of 230. Not super good copy. It's like a fine plus. 230. This is when Matt Murdock finds out that Sister Maggie is his mother. It's pretty cool. This is the first cameo and first cameo appearance of Sister Maggie, but you don't know that she's. I don't know. It's weird. These are basically the first Sister Maggie books. If you're interested in Sister Maggie, those are the books. And it also retells Daredevil's origin. 229. All right. A little bit of a jump here into the Denny O'Neil and David Mazzucchelli run. 225. 224, there's a little break. We get back to the O'Neil Mazzucchelli run here with 223. 222. Most of you will know Mazzucchelli. He did some Spider-Man, but I think he's most famous for being the artist on Frank Miller's Year One. 221. Batman Year One, I should say. 220. But he's pretty famous for this Daredevil run as well. This is O'Neil with Sal Buscema and a Keith Pollard cover. 218. Mazzucchelli did the interior artwork, but this is a Barry Windsor Smith cover. Is that right? Yeah, Windsor Smith. Pretty gorgeous cover there with Black Widow and Daredevil. More Mazzucchelli. Goodness. All right, let's pull over this last stack. Fused a little bit left from that stack. And we'll continue our descent through the decades. 215. Really nice copy of 214. 213. 212. More Mazzucchelli goodness. Continue the trend. As I'm going to lose one. That's slippery Mylar. 211. David Mazzucchelli, just such good work, man. 210. 209. 208. 207. 206. This is Ed Hannigan cover. Who did the other one? I don't think that was Mazzucchelli either. No, Johnson and Sienkiewicz. I think Bill Johnson. Bill Johnson and Sienkiewicz. Also Bill? Why can't I think of his first name right now? Yeah, they're both Bills. Okay, I'm not stupid. Johnson did the interior and the cover on this one. 204, this is Theincrediblecj cover. 203, we got a nice John Byrne cover. 202, nice guest cover by Bob Layton. The stack. 201, I think this is a John Byrne cover as well. Yeah, it is. John Byrne. DD's out of action. He's up here, broke his arm. Black Widow's kicking booty in this place. This is one of my favorite covers in the entire stack. Nothing key about this issue other than its number. Number 200, this absolutely awesome John Byrne, Terry Austin cover here. Daredevil standing over a beaten bullseye with his broken arm and his billy club. Just awesome. 199, Denny O'Neil does the writing on that. We got Larry Hama writing with Klaus Jansson's artwork, still on the book. And then we drop down into the Miller era. Here, this was an upgrade for me. This is 185, Miller and Klaus Janson. We have a nice, what I give it, 8.0 copy of 184 featuring the first team up of Daredevil and Punisher. This very famous Frank Miller cover, I wish it was in slightly higher grade. I used to have a nicer copy. This is about a Find Plus copy of Daredevil 182. Another 80-ish range copy of 179 featuring this gorgeous Frank Miller cover with Daredevil's cowl over, through Elektra stabbing over their side. That's what I was trying to get. I was trying to save face by saying Daredevil first. So I was trying to go backwards, but it wasn't working. Frank Miller, again, 177. Just a gorgeous cover. 167. The issue right before the first appearance of Elektra, which I own, so no biggie there. There's one book I wish was in here. Once we skip over it, I will explain. 165, the last Frank Miller issue in here. Did I show that one off already? Yeah, apparently there's 2 copies of 165 in this collection. That's the one I kept. It was nicer. All right, so that's it for the Miller. We're going to kind of hit the in-between eras here. Gene Colan does the artwork on this issue. 156, the original yellow suit. Daredevil, which I think ended up being his dad or something, and versus Daredevil. All weird stuff. All fun era. Dave Cockrum cover here, but it's low grade. It's beat 151. It's got chunk out of here. And now we kind of take a dip into the early Bronze Age. Or if some people will still call this Silver Age. Some people go into the early 70s before they start calling anything bronze. Some will consider, when this goes away. And, the new Marvel Comics Group banner comes on as the start of the bronze. I'm kind of at the end of the 60s is kind of where I end. So I consider this Bronze Age. Daredevil 80. It's a 4.0. Not terrible. It's a nice filler copy. Number 79. This is a lower grade. This is a 3.5, but we're going to see some nicer ones here coming up. This has the cameo of Stan Lee and his wife Jane. Gary Friedrich actually wrote the issue. He wrote them in, which is kind of cool. This is Jerry Conway with a Marie Severin cover, who's very underrated in my opinion. She did a lot of really good Hulk covers, and a lot of stuff in the late Silver Age. She was a really good artist in my opinion. This is only like a 4.0 as well. There's some writing on the cover, and there's some foxing, and Marvel chipping. I don't really see foxing. There's just color loss. This is issue 54. This was the first appearance of the second Mr. Fear, who later becomes Machine Smith. And it's also, this issue was featured as a prop in an episode of 30 Rock. So if you're into 30 Rock and you like Daredevil, this might be a good book to have. This is probably the nicest condition of these olders, and this is actually Silver Age, 12-cent price. From April 1969. This one's also probably Silver Age to me. Yeah, July 69. 72, I believe, is bronze, so it'd be 71, yeah. This is issue 51. This is like a 7.5. Like, gorgeous. Like, there's some, like, discolor and stuff on the back cover. That kind of basically dings it, most of it. But like, look how sharp this is. A little spot here or there. There's some spine ticks. All right, but that's one of the sharpest looking Silver Age books I own, to be honest. This upgraded my personal copy. I had one that I refused to get rid of. It was a present from Johnny DaCosta, but it's time to upgrade it. It didn't go with my first batch of Waves Out, but this one is a full grade better than that one, so it might be time to leave. And I'll use it to put some Batman books in the collection in Johnny's honor. This is awesome. Number 41. This is the Death of Mike Murdock, which literally says right on the cover. I didn't have to turn it around to tell you that. Well, I'll explain in a minute, because here's issue 40. This is a nice 5.5-ish copy, because it's going to fall. Goodness gracious, the top to the short box fell because there's not enough weight in the box to hold it up. This is absolutely stunning. I'm happy. This is probably the second best book in the collection. It might be the best book, actually. This is number 37. This is just a really hot Doom Daredevil cover right now. It's Doom versus Daredevil. I don't know if it's their first time facing off. It doesn't say, so probably not. Stan Lee written book. Gene Colan doing the art. Actually, were a bunch of these Stan Lee. Yeah, Stan Lee did 40, 41. I don't think he did 51. No, that's Roy Thomas. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Here's issue 34. And then now the earliest issue I own, also a pretty decent key for two reasons. It is the first appearance of Leapfrog, number 25, and it is the first appearance of Matt Murdock's twin brother, Mike Murdock, who we saw his death in issue 41, so this is kind of where we'll end. I think it's just a fun little story. Basically, Stan Lee decided to do a little workaround on Daredevil's secret identity being revealed. So instead of it being Matt, they say it's Mike Murdock. It's just kind of silly who Matt then poses as Mike. And yeah, so it gets a little, geez, how many issues is this? 16 issues. So like a year and a half worth of Mike Murdock as Daredevil. It's basically they think that Mike Murdock is the secret. It's interesting. And then he dies in this issue, and then Daredevil keeps going, and they stop questioning it or something. I don't know. I didn't read much of the story. It's just interesting to know that they created a fictional twin of Matt as the secret identity to just, save Matt from being revealed as Daredevil. I feel like being, I guess more in modern comics, that doesn't make as much sense, but still, just an interesting story. But we'll end here, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll be back in a little bit, maybe like, I don't know, a week or so, with a mail call issue of my channel, a mail call video. I'm gonna have one eBay book, my normal monthly books, and I got a package in the mail from Emski. So we'll open that up in that video as well. And I don't know what that is, if it's an AOK or some sort of prize from our fantasy football league that we've been doing since like 2013. I'm not sure. So we'll figure it out in that video. So I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for checking it out. Make sure you check out the Fantastic Four video. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm going to start moving some of my Whatnot inventory to my eBay, and then stuff like that. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, check out my Whatnot and eBays down below as well. Whatnot will return probably summer. eBay is going to stay put as my primary selling for now, and I may get into some Instagram, but whatever. You don't care about that. All these books to my collection, as you know, I flip to do this so I can add books to my collection. And I'm also kind of hoarding right now to one day maybe open up a store. So that's my life. That's what we're doing, and I'm rambling because I do that often as well. So I'll talk to you guys later. It's almost spring. Have a good one, and keep on collecting.